Hi, we're Joel and Lia.
And this is going to be a recap of our time in Texas, what we loved about it, what we didn't love about it.
We realised that we didn't actually do like a roundup of the holiday, whatever you want to... Should we call it a holiday? It was a kind of a holiday, but it was like a content holiday.
Yeah.
We went to Texas knowing that we were going to film as many videos as possible whilst we were out there.
It's one of those weird things, isn't it? Because obviously this is our job. Videos earn us money. So it was like a work thing, but it was also a fun thing to do. So it's like a working holiday, I guess.
Exactly. And like, I think people that don't really understand YouTube might be like, wait, what? Your job is to go to Texas. Who's sending you there? And we're like, oh no, we're sending ourselves there because we know it's going to be really fun. We're like, we're paying for ourselves. And they're like, right, it's a work trip.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my gosh.
They don't get it.
Anyway.
But because it was a work trip, we didn't necessarily do all the things that people would do on a holiday or a vacation, as you'd say. We did still have a good time.
Yeah, definitely. I think every day, I'd say every day there was definitely good fun we had every day.
Oh, definitely. And I think that's because it was 7 days. I think that's what we both really liked. We went to New York, New Jersey for 16 days, and it was too long.
It's too much.
Too long.
It's too far. It's just, if it's short and crammed, we work really well under pressure.
Yeah.
If someone's like, Joel and Lia, you've got 7 days to make as much happen, we will make it happen.
Yeah.
But if they're like, you've got 2 weeks, we'll go, should we go shopping today?
Yeah.
Like, we just didn't even dream of doing that in Texas. We didn't just go, let's spend the whole day shopping.
The only time we did shopping was on the last day, and we were like, let's treat ourselves. And we even got a massage.
Oh my gosh.
Actually, that was the best part about Texas.
That was
the massage.
Our proper holiday on the last day.
Yeah.
Actually, no, the worst day was when we checked out of the Airbnb. We had all those hours.
Oh,
so we
my
sat at the
gosh.
airport and we were like, we'll go and check into an executive lounge. We'll just pay to be in there. None of them would let us in.
Yeah, they wouldn't.
None of them would let the skinny legends into a lounge.
They were like, we're not letting anyone in because it's quite busy, except if you're travelling first class.
Yeah. If you're a member of any of these clubs, and we were like, no.
So we just sat in the airport lounge for probably about 5 hours.
Not even lounge, it's an airport. Big.
Luckily, we found 2 seats next to a plug socket, and we raced that man there, and he like tutted and walked off, and we were like, you snooze, you lose.
Snooze, you lose. Like, Usain Bolt to the
Yeah.
chairs. Like, it was so quick. And then I had to watch the chairs whilst you got food and vice versa.
And the food was so expensive.
The food was very
'Cause it was
expensive.
airport.
Yeah, I got a Texas barbecue that day.
Yeah, I
16.
got a sub.
Oh, you got a sub?
16 for a barbecue.
Yeah, shocking. 16
Shocking.
for a little... Anyway, but let's go into what we really, really, really liked about Texas.
And I think we should probably clarify by saying this is what we liked and didn't like about Austin. Because I know that it's not... The title of this video will be the things we liked and disliked about Texas, but really it's about Austin.
Yeah, because that's where we went. Apart from the day that we spent in San Antonio.
Yeah, which was great.
That was a good day.
Yeah.
That was so many fails that day.
I think that was one of my favourite things, actually,
well,
about
getting
the
the
trip.
bus.
Whereas, apart from, once we got there, the bus was obviously horrific. But as soon as we got there, Margaritas by the river, we were very tipsy, having the best time, like chatting to people as they walked by.
That was so funny.
It was so good. And then the rodeo was a letdown. But I think the best moment was Margaritas by the river.
That was so funny.
That was just so fun.
Joel, we were like chatting about really inappropriate stuff. Like
very
stuff that would
stuff.
not go on camera.
Yeah, we would never talk to our parents about.
It was so bad. Like, if we were like, oh my gosh, imagine if anyone recognised us right now and they were like, sorry, what filth just came out of your mouth?
Oh, it was horrific.
It was horrific, but that's what happens when 2 skinny legends drink margaritas.
I know. Oh my gosh.
That was so funny. Of course, none of that was filmed. That was just like in the moment.
Yeah, but we rarely have conversations like that, but it was just like, we just decided to do it in the middle of, like, in the middle of the day, public.
So funny.
But really funny, sipping on margaritas. I really like that.
Yeah.
But what did you love about Austin or Texas as a whole? Yeah.
Okay, I think overall the biggest, like, ding 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 was the people we met. Almost everyone was accommodating, kind, and interested in us. And that's so nice. A really nice feeling. Like, that people are just interested in you and why you're here and what you're doing. Okay, it was kind of hard to sometimes explain what we're doing there because we're like, we sent ourselves here for our channel. But
do you remember that woman in Super Salad?
Oh,
the waitress. She was so lovely.
She loved it. She was cute.
She was, and she gave you a hug.
Yeah.
At the end.
I can't remember. We just got on really well, and then she's not a legend. She doesn't follow us. But she was just a really sweet waitress, and she did a great job, and we had a good day. We gave her a hug after.
I know.
She was lovely.
She was so nice.
The reason why this is like, is because that just would not happen here.
Oh, no. And like in a way, we wouldn't want it to happen here, because living here, we'd be like, oh, we don't have time for this, it's just annoying. But I think because we were on holiday, it was like, oh, we can relax, we can spend more time chatting to people, and it was nice to have that relationship.
We were in holiday mode, even though we were working.
Yeah.
And what do you say you loved, like, overall?
I can't put it into words. It was just the general vibe that I got there, that I'm sorry to everyone from Florida, I've been to Florida loads of times, but I preferred Texas, like the vibe, the public streets, the way it was designed, the sort of laid out. Everything felt bigger, more space, which I really like. Which I've heard everything's bigger in Texas.
Okay.
Where I've been in Florida, everything feels quite spaced out, but then it is spaced out in Austin. But it just...
you did say a lot whilst we were there. You were like, I just really like the vibes here, and Joel was the one like going online being like, I wonder how much it would be to live here, and like, I wonder how much if I could spend some time here, or like you were always going like, the vibe is, I just feel like good here.
It was something, I can't put it into words, it was just the vibe of the place that I got good vibrations from Texas.
Like the vibrations were lit,
they
and
were
therefore
seriously lit.
You were lit.
I was
and
lit.
as a result of that,
I
was lit.
So it was just a lit trip.
It was so lit. Honestly, I think there's probably a word for that, but we just don't have it in our vocab.
Talking about the spaced out thing, you were saying that was one of your negatives.
Yeah, I think for me, I felt like we have to take Ubers everywhere. We have, if you don't have a car, then you're limited. And because we didn't get a car, I felt like there were some things that we couldn't do. So that's why that was probably one of the biggest negatives for me, was like, oh, I love it and I want to explore everything, but we don't have a car and we can't.
Yeah. And I think that's really sad, because for people that can't drive, which I know is probably rare in America, but in the UK there's lots of people that can't drive, so it's like, what are you supposed to do? Like, I guess get Ubers. All of you guys be like, just hire a car, it's not hard, just hire a car, but we don't want to hire a car, like... We're too scared to drive in a foreign country. So what are we supposed to do? Obviously, it's a skill we want to get better at, and we want to learn to drive and push ourselves out of our comfort zones in another country. I mean, we can drive, both of us in the UK. But driving in a foreign country is just a bit stressful.
Other side of the road, just all of that stuff. Yeah. It wasn't something we wanted to go wrong. In order to focus on making content and making amazing videos for the channel... The last thing we wanted was like car drama, an accident.
Where do we return it? Where do we pick it up? Have we scratched the car? Where do we park? How much is the parking going to cost? Like
all of that stuff.
All of that.
So in a way, like taking the Ubers was a huge positive, because all of the Uber drivers we met, bar like one, were hilarious.
Yeah.
And so funny.
I think next time, because when we were doing Uber, we wanted to then do a video all about the Uber drivers we met in Texas, because they each had a different personality. And I think next time we need to write down after the Uber trip on notes what they were like, and also see if we can get a selfie with them.
Yeah, that's such a
Just
good
be like,
series.
sorry, you're really fun, can we get a selfie with you? And they'll probably
so
say yes, and then we can insert it in the video.
Yeah, we really, really ought to do that on our next trip, because if we encounter really cool Uber drivers again, then that could be like an Uber series, like the best drivers we've met, and their stories were so good. Like, we just met people that were very open about their lives, and they told us stories that like were touching or just funny. And one of the first guys, he invited us for dinner with his wife. He didn't even know us.
He didn't even know us. We could have been
He didn't even know the channel or anything. He was like, oh, we'd love to take you out for dinner. And we were thinking, oh, well, we're about to get out of your car. We've got no way of contacting you. But that's so nice. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, he probably thought we were really rude. He was probably like, oh, they don't want to have dinner with me. But it's like, going to give us your number, or are we going to...
It's just like, it didn't feel like an empty offer.
No.
It felt like he genuinely meant it.
Yeah.
I think he did.
I think he did.
But I don't know if he realised that, how would we, without exchanging details there and then, like, how are we going to do that? But yeah, that's a really good idea. Like, let us know if you want to see a series like that on Joel and Lia, because... we met a lot of Uber drivers, and it would be so fun.
It would be fun. The only negative that I had, I think, of Austin in particular, was the homeless problem. I think it was worse than I've known in London,
Yeah.
which is saying something because it is bad in London.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's terrible in Austin. And we got told that by Laura, who picked us up as well.
Yeah.
Said that there is a real issue with homelessness in Austin.
It was quite tragic.
And we encountered this in New York as well, didn't we? The fact that homeless people don't seem to have as much help than they do in the UK. This sounds bad to say, but the type of homeless person that we've encountered in America so far is quite scary, like drugged up, on alcohol, like really terrifying. Whereas in the UK, you could have a conversation with them.
Yeah, it's the attitudes towards the homeless as well.
Yeah.
I feel like in London, people are very much like, we need to help the homeless, like how can we help them? Whereas a few people that we spoke to in Austin were like, don't talk to them, just ignore them, like just don't give them money. Don't.
Do you remember that one Uber driver? I thought she was horrible, actually. She was lovely to us, but I hated her as soon as she said that. She was just like, oh, and the homeless people, it's their own fault. Like, they say that there's shelters that they can use, but they're not going to use them. It's their own fault. And I was like, it's not that simple. Like, are you that cold-hearted?
I know.
That you think that that's... Like, of course they're going to accept shelter if that's what...
That did trigger me as well.
Yeah.
Like, I just thought that was... It was weird.
I think we view it... I don't know in general, but in that case, with that woman, I think we just view addiction differently. So she was like, well, you're addicted to drugs, you should give that up and then you can go into the shelter. Whereas we'd be like, addiction is a disease, you can't just like turn that part of your brain off.
You can't just be like, I'm just going to stop now.
Yeah.
That's not really how addiction works,
have
is
some
it?
compassion.
Yeah.
But I think, that was the worst part of Austin for me, was the homeless people.
Yeah.
Not the homeless people, the homeless problem.
The homeless problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. But overall, we wanted to make this video to just sort of share some of the lovely things that we encountered there.
Let's end on a positive.
Let's end on a positive.
The food.
The
donuts. The tacos.
Did we have donuts out there? Oh,
Gourdos.
I'm sorry.
Gordos.
Gourdos. H-E-B.
H-E-B.
What a day.
That was so great.
That was so cool.
When I've been watching the videos back, I look and I'm like, wow, we did that video, and that video all in one day. I'm like, we had donuts and then we went to surprise the viewer.
Was exhausting.
And then we went and did like Gourdos, whatever. And it was like, wow.
We actually did so much filming.
Yeah.
We were on a roll.
Yeah.
And it was actually like, for me, I'm sure for you as well, I just love feeling that productive and being that productive. It just makes me feel like I've got so much purpose and that I'm like doing good things, even though it's videos of me and my best friend having fun. It was everything.
Yeah, it was so good. And I was just saying to Leah as well that it's really nice to have memories. These sit-down videos, we'll look back at them maybe and be like, oh, I remember that day, weren't we going to, because we're going to a film screening later today, be like, oh, wasn't that the day we went to film screening? But we probably won't remember much else, whereas watching Texas back, it's like full-on memories.
Yeah, it's like, oh, that's the day we played dress up, and that's the day that I fell over in Wendy's and stacked it, and that's the day, that's the time we got on the bus. Like, it is really good to have memories online.
It's very nice. So I'm looking forward to our next America trip. That'd be
definitely.
Sick.
Once again, let us know in the comments where you think we should go.
Yeah.
It's looking like July time. There might be one sooner, but we'll see.
Well, if you enjoyed this video, guys, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe. We post videos thrice weekly.
And if you've never seen the Texas series, but you've just found us from this video, then we will link the playlist, the entire Texas series playlist in our end card. You can go and watch that. We'll leave it in the description.
Go and have a watch. And just before we leave, what was your favourite video from the Texas series?
My favourite video was I quite like Gourdos.
Yeah,
I just think because I was quite drunk.
Yeah. What was my favourite?
I loved the day at HEB as well.
Day at HEB was fantastic.
Shooting, that was intense.
The shooting was intense, but I didn't enjoy that day.
How about the day that we're on the phone to the English breakfast and then we go there? English
that was
tea.
fun.
There's so many.
There's so many good videos. I don't know. I'll think of it as soon as we turn the camera off. I'll be like, that was my favourite
video.
But the most popular one was Brits trying Texas barbecue. But I didn't think that was our best video. Never mind. But anyway, we've just said the outro. So there you go. We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys. Bye.
We need to go back to Texas.
I know. We need to do Fort Worth.
Yeah.
Dallas.
Yeah. Houston.
And then maybe another little trip to San Antonio because we didn't spend enough time there.
We didn't, and we want another margarita and talking
in that
filth
same
by the river.
Filth by the river.